Chris Bell, wide receiver, Louisville, 6'2", 222 pounds. He had an ACL injury that ended his 2025 season late in the year. He's a 2-year contributor at Louisville, 151 receptions, 2,166 yards, 12 touchdowns in his career. He progressively got more productive during his time at Louisville. Big and physical wide receiver. The physicality shows up in the rack, at the catch point. Um, Makes back shoulder plays often. He's a raw prospect. And with that, he's a poor route runner. His technique is pretty bad. His footwork is pretty bad. He doesn't drop his hips like he should. Sometimes he gives his eyes on routes before he should. So we'll get into some of that later in this video. But maybe the biggest knock is he's coming off an ACL as a rookie. Um, Sports medicine has come a long way. It's certainly not the end of the road for him here, but he's got to battle through a pretty major injury from day one here in the NFL. So let's get into this. New cursor, by the way. Hopefully you guys can see some of what I'm talking about a little bit better. So bottom of the screen, these first two clips are against Miami. Obviously, they're pretty good, and Louisville handed them a regular season loss, thanks in most part to this guy here. He had a really good game. So he's a big-time threat on these drags, crossers, in breaking routes in the short and intermediate area. In fact, over 50% of his production comes on slants, drags, and ins. In these first two clips here, or first few rather, you're going to see what he can do. So, little drag, he's open, give him some space. He's going to build that long speed. Maybe lacks a little bit of short area quickness overall in his game, but for being 6'2", 222 pounds, he can put some speed on these routes here. So similar thing. Like the spatial awareness here a lot. His eyes are back at the quarterback, and he makes the move to avoid this defender, cut it upfield, break a couple tackles, and just show off some speed, get in the end zone. Really good play there. It's instinctive. Had a few of these long drag touchdowns, so we're going to see another one here. He's going to motion from the top, run the drag. We're open. Physical. He's not easy to bring down. He's a big dude, and he gets moving. Bottom of the screen, motion. Crosser, we're open. Handsy catch, not the best quality look here with the video, but we'll see it again here on the end zone clip. End zone angle, sorry. We're open, going up, handsy catch, fighting through some contact, making the play. It's good stuff. Top of the screen here, we're going to run a little slant against press. Guy does a good job kind of staying on our hip, but we get enough separation and we hold on through contact, making a physical play underneath there. Good stuff. So next we're going to have some mostly back shoulder plays, but a few deep balls. Like I said, he's really good at this. So line up at the top of the screen. He's just going to run a fade, back shoulder. He's going to one-hand it, contested catch. I mean, the DB's all over him. Just doesn't matter. Does a really good job. Gets both feet in as well. Bottom of the screen. Fade. Turn back for the ball. Make the play. Does this really well. And you love to see it with his size as well. He's a big guy. 222 at receiver is huge. So stuff like this translates well to the NFL. Let's see. Top of the screen. It's going to be another one of these. Just good stuff coming back to the ball, using our hands to make the catch and being difficult to bring down. We're going to pick up a few extra yards on top there. Bottom of the screen, we're going to run a post here against Pitt. Good stuff getting open, making the play. It's good stuff. Don't see a ton of posts from him, but here's one. Does a good job making the play there. So, like I said, he's very raw. So we're going to go over a few clips here. Some of them is kind of good and bad. Mostly, we're looking at his technique here more than the outcome of the play. And it's worth noting, I think a lot of this is able to be worked on and polished in the NFL. You see some guys that come in, AJ Brown, DK Metcalf. Maybe they're not the most polished route runners, and um, with some work, they're able to become some of the better receivers in the NFL. So similar size frame to those guys as well. Um, Obviously, DK Metcalf is a freak athlete. I don't think he's that, but you get the point. I think a good situation for Bell is to go into a receiver room with maybe a few veterans, a place where he can take his time, make sure he's fully recovered, and maybe one of the better receiver coaches in the league gets his hands on him, and they can really mold him into a high-end receiver. So, bottom of the screen, he's going to run a dig. He's going to complete the catch. It's just not a good route. You know, he's just slow to get into the break, kind of slow to get the head around. His feet aren't great at the top of the route. Makes the catch regardless. Bottom of the screen here, kind of same deal. I mean, he's got off coverage. He's running a curl and he's wide open, so it's a win. But this is just don't want to insult anyone. This is a high school level route right here. That's something you'd see in high school, varsity practice. But he's a good player, good athlete. Don't get me wrong. But yeah. So this next one here is sort of a contested catch situation. He's going to run a fade, and it is definitely a difficult catch. But there's guys out there that make this play, right? The DB, the safety over the top, kind of makes the play on his arms rather than the ball, so it hits him in the hands, and certainly catchable. Doesn't bring it down. That is a tough play. I debated putting that one in here, but it's worth noting. So more of kind of the technique here, top of the screen. This is what I was referring to earlier. He's going to run a hitch, and he just gives his eyes before he breaks. This is route running 101, hitch 101. You don't give your eyes before the break. If you look closely here, he's looking back. He just gives it early. I mean, he makes the play through contact, which he does well. But you just want to see him clean that up a little bit. So some of his strengths cover up his weaknesses well, and you get away with it in college, but it's just not going to fly at the next level. So he's going to have to improve. Another one I kind of debated throwing in here, top of the screen. This is probably illegal contact, holding, illegal contact, pass interference. But he gets locked up. Maybe want to see a little bit better hand fighting, right? He's got that. He's trying to swipe the hand off him, right? That's good technique, but he doesn't. So maybe he's getting held, right? But that guy's latched onto him. He's all over him. No flag was thrown. So we put it on here. So that's it. Chris Bell, raw player, but we like the NFL frame already. We like the back shoulder stuff. We like what he can do with the ball in his hands in space. Just want to see him come back fully healthy from that knee injury. That could definitely cause him to slip, and maybe polish up some of that route running technique as well.